Hi, I'm Lisa Bishop. I'm with the Friends of Hanauma Bay.
And what are your concerns about the sunscreen issue? We have the bill that's trying its second year in a row to move forward a different bill, but similar, a ban on oxybenzone and octinizate. And what is your position on this?
Well, we certainly advocate for the passage of a legislation banning the sale of sunscreens that contain those two chemicals because oxybenzone and octinoxate have been demonstrated for many, many years as being reef toxins. And our coral reefs are subject to so many stressors already, and this is one that we can fix. We can fix it almost immediately at no cost to the state of Hawaii, and it will be a huge benefit to all of our coral reefs and our marine environment. These chemicals in sunscreen affect not only corals, but they also have adverse impacts on sea urchins and shrimp and our algae. So if we can get that cleared out of our waters, our coral reefs have a much better chance of revitalizing themselves and restoring themselves into a sustainable coral reef community.
And what would this legislation do for specifically Hanauma Bay? We see the testing that has been going on there. What have those shown?
Yes, we were able to do the first water sampling for oxybenzone levels at Hanauma Bay in November of last year, and the raw data and the analysis has come out. The oxybenzone levels at Hanauma Bay were measured as high as almost 28,000 parts per trillion, which is really critical if you consider that corals within a 24-hour period die if they're exposed to levels of oxybenzone at 62 parts per trillion. So here in Hanauma Bay, which is part of the Hawaiian Islands humpback whale National Marine Sanctuary, and it's also a Class AA marine embayment under the Federal Clean Water Act and the state of Hawaii's first marine life conservation district, and yet it is showing levels of 28,000 parts per trillion of oxybenzone. So we're hoping that this legislation will, when it passes, that we will be able to almost immediately reduce the amount of oxybenzone in the waters at Hanauma Bay. If we don't mitigate it or eliminate oxybenzone from the waters at Hanauma Bay, then we have very little chance of restoring the bay.
So it's possible that Hanauma Bay could become a dead zone.
Yes, very much so, and preliminary studies indicate 15 to 20 years if we don't do something to mitigate the oxybenzone levels in the water now, in 15 to 20 years we won't have the Hanauma Bay that we're accustomed to seeing now.
So what are your hopes at the Capitol for the legislation this year? Are you optimistic that this is going to move forward? And what are the challenges and how do you see this progressing?
Well, this is a second year trying to pass sunscreen legislation, and we have much greater support. Both the progressives and the conservatives are supporting this. We have many, many businesses around Hawaii and nationally, as a matter of fact, but we have many businesses around Hawaii who recognize the fact that if we don't reduce the amount of oxybenzone in our waters, that the coral reefs are going to disappear and their businesses are going to disappear. A significant part of Hawaiian culture will disappear. So we have much more support, and over the last couple of years we have much more science that's been shared from scientists all over the world who are sharing their studies that demonstrate the toxic effects of oxybenzone and octinoxate in marine environments. So having that upsurge of international support for passing sunscreen legislation in Hawaii is very heartening. And once again, Hawaii stands at the forefront of being able to lead the world in this effort. We hosted the IUCN conference in 2016, the first time it was ever hosted in the United States, and this seems like a really natural adjunct to hosting the International Union for the Conservation of Science. So we're hoping that it'll pass. We have more support, and it's one hearing at a time, so we're hoping it's going to pass.
We do too.
Thank you, Lisa.